In South Africa, with a dramatic day of testimony in the Oscar Pistorius murder trial, Pistorius broke down in the dark as he told the court how he had killed his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp. Our correspondent Dan Williams was in court. Let's cross to him now. Dan, take us through the day's proceedings.
Yes, as you say, it was a very dramatic day, a very emotional day here at the North Gauteng High Court. Probably one of the key days of this trial so far, as Oscar Pistorius retold in his own words the events, his version of events as to what happened on that tragic night last year. And it all started in a fairly underwhelming kind of way, with him talking through the various text messages between himself and Reeva Steenkamp. And then, in a way, the defence just trying to underline that this was very much a loving relationship that they had. But then the attention started to turn towards February the 14th. The mood in the court very much darkened, and Oscar Pistorius slumped over in tears. 18 days in, and finally it was time for Oscar Pistorius to tell the court, in his own words, his version as to what happened in the early hours on that fateful Valentine's Day morning last year, when he shot and killed Reeva Steenkamp. It was emotional and dramatic. He started by telling the court he had awoken in the early hours. He had noticed his balcony doors were still open. He brought in 2 fans and then closed the doors. He then heard a noise in his bathroom.
My lady, that's the moment that everything changed. I thought that there was a burglar that was gaining entry into my home.
Pistorius said he then grabbed his gun and approached the bathroom.
I wasn't sure if somebody was going to come out of the toilet to attack me. I wasn't sure if someone was going to come up the ladder and point a firearm in the house and start shooting. So I just stayed where I was and I kept on screaming. And then I heard a noise from inside the toilet. What I perceived to be somebody coming out of the toilet. Before I knew it, I'd fired 4 shots at the door.
The athlete then told the court he went back to the bedroom. He patted the bed where he thought Reeva should have been. And it dawned on him that perhaps it was Reeva in the toilet.
Whilst I leant over the partition to get in, I saw the key, so I took it and I unlocked the door and I flung the door open, I threw it open. And I sat over Reeva and I cried. And I don't know how long I don't know how long I was there for. She wasn't breathing.
I think we'll take an adjournment.
It was all too much for both sets of families, but especially for Reeva's mother, June. Earlier, Pistorius addressed the firearm charges that he also faces. He denied the charge that he fired a gunshot out of the sunroof of a car in 2012. That is in conflict to 2 witness accounts. But this will be a day that will be remembered for Oscar Pistorius' first-hand traumatic account as to what happened on that fateful night. Pistorius' testimony was always going to be pivotal, and shortly lead prosecutor Harry Nell will get his chance to cross-examine the evidence. How well the athlete handles that is likely to determine his fate. Dan Williams, CCTV, Pretoria.
So Dan, we see there Pistorius electing not to appear on camera, and also the court being adjourned early once again, essentially due to Pistorius' emotional state. So what can we expect on day 19, and do you think this trial will take longer than we'd initially thought?
Well, I think that is very much a real possibility, I have to say. If we look at it, the defence will start again tomorrow, leading the evidence with Oscar Pistorius. They're likely to then look into what happened next, what happened after Oscar Pistorius found out that he'd mistakenly shot Reeva Steenkamp, looking at his interactions with the medics, with the police, with the security on the estate itself. And then, as I said in that piece there, Harry Nell trial, the lead prosecutor will get his chance to test that evidence, to cross-examine that evidence, and really find out to see if there's any potential kind of mishaps within that. Now, Harry Nell, of course, he's got the reputation of being ferocious in court. He's known, his nickname is the Pitbull. Certainly that was the case when he had Jackie Salibi, the former police chief, here on the stand, and it took him a good number of days, 8 days or so, of cross-examination before allowing him off the stand again. Now, we very much could be in that situation here. Certainly we're expecting a lot more emotion once again with Oscar Pistorius. Can he stand up to Harry Nell? What will his emotional state be like over the coming days? One thing is for sure, we are in for yet more emotional storytelling over the next few days.
All right, thanks very much. Dan Williams there in Pretoria giving us the latest on the Oscar Pistorius murder trial.